Child abuse is a major problem around the world that continues to grow due to three main factors. First, statistics show that 30% of children that are abused in their childhood will go on to abuse their own children when they become adults. This is off of a trusted website called Child Health. Second, the general public isn't aware of what a growing epidemic it is. A major news source, the Toronto Star, covered a child abuse awareness campaign held in that city, where they put teddy bears around the city with the numbers of the child abuse hotline on the teddy bear. The public would then text the line to let them understand how easy it could be to report child abuse. Just a simple text. This is just one example of many attempts around the world at raising awareness on this issue. The final factor is that people that do suspect child abuse don't know how to report it or even if they should. The process is very simple, as the awareness campaign showed, that it can just be a simple text, but many people don't know that in 36 of the 50 states in the U.S., it is required by law that anyone that even suspects child abuse is going on must report it. This is off a website called childwelfare.gov. It is essential that the general public becomes educated on how to recognize and report child abuse if we expect this problem to get any better. We will first look at how to recognize common indications of child abuse. Since almost 90% of cases have physical manifestations, I'm going to describe common physical marks on a child referring to the work of Dr. Ermikton in the Department of Dermatology and Pediatrics at a university in Turkey. Bruises are the most common physical manifestation of child abuse. Though most active children acquire bruises, so sometimes it's difficult to tell when one was put there intentionally. One common distinguishing feature is where the bruise is on the child. If it's over a bony area, such as the shins or the elbows, typically it's there by an accident. However, if it's on the face or the upper arms or the torso, the bruising is most likely there through child abuse. Also, the genitalia and the ears are the most common places to find child abuse bruising. Another indication is the shape and the pattern of the bruising. These bruises here were caused by a belt looped around and hitting the child. This is a handprint on the back of the child where someone hit them hard enough to make a bruise. Bite marks are also very common in child abuse cases. These are much easier to single out as abuse, simply because human bite marks are not as deep as animal bite marks are, and it's also easy to identify the person that made the mark because of dental structure in humans. Unfortunately, burns are also a very common indicator of child abuse, occurring in approximately 15% of cases. Scalding is the most frequent, and it can take two different forms. Immersion scalding looks like this, like either a glove or a sock on a child, where the child was held down in the burning water. It results in deep bruising or deep burning down in multiple layers of the skin. Splash burns are less severe, and sometimes it's more difficult to tell if it's child abuse simply because children tend to drop hot objects as well, just on themselves. However, cigarette and lighter burns are very common in abuse cases and are rarely mistaken for anything else and hardly ever an accident. Children also exhibit emotional signs of abuse. According to Child Abuse and Neglect, Recognizing and Preventing Child Abuse, an online article written by 3 different specialists published on helpguide.org help us recognize these signs. Children will act in extremes, either acting too old for their age, trying to take care of others, or too young and reverting to wetting the bed or sucking their thumbs. They can also be extremely friendly or far too shy for a normal child. Their grades in school will typically change, either becoming higher or lower, or being too passive or too aggressive with other children and adults. They will also become fearful and nervous about doing anything wrong because they're afraid of the repercussions. The public has to learn how to react to these situations and get help to the child. There are slightly different laws in each state about suspected child abuse. According to the Journal of Law, Medicine, and Ethics, states will either say that you can report based on suspicions or beliefs. Suspicions require less evidence to back it up and more just worries, whereas beliefs require the person to incriminate the abuser in their own mind before calling in. To safely handle reporting child abuse, the reporter should try to gather as much evidence as possible through careful observations. However, if they can't find anything, it's best to make the call and let the authorities handle it. There are many ways to go about reporting this abuse. You can call one of the many hotlines: World Vision, Help a Child, Child Help, or the Department of Family Services. You can also visit their websites containing the same names. Finally, you can also simply call local law enforcement and allow them to direct you through the right channels. Let's fight this growing epidemic together.